Talking about the sectoral indices and what the picture is there at this point in time for the sectoral indices, it's a pharma index that is actually seeing a decline along with the oil and gas space, but realty index holding really strong in trade today. 2.5% uptick coming in for the realty index, followed by the broader markets holding on to good gains. So as of now, markets a tad bit off the day's highest point when you talk about the benchmark indices, but a lot of individual stocks that are moving in trade, and case in point is Tejas Networks, Shrishti.
Well, yes, what a stellar move in Tejas Network, up around 17 to 18% in today's trading session. And it is indeed a earnings dhamaka as the company swings back to profit of over 140 crores. And this is what we're going to be discussing and putting the spotlight on the buy now, sell now lens as well. So firstly, let's put the spotlight on the internals of Tejas Network. What actually changed in this quarter gone by and how are the numbers panning out? Sharad is joining to give us all those details. Take it away, Sharad.
Yes, a strong set of numbers coming in for Tejas Networks, and yesterday also we saw a bump up in the stock price. Stock went up almost 17% in last trading session. The revenue, if you look at it, that's jumped almost 137% on a sequential basis, and also there has been a significant improvement when it comes to PAT as well as company turning profitable operationally as well. We checked at the order book also at the end of Q4. The order book is more than 8,200 crore rupees, and strong updates have been coming and the guidance coming in going ahead for the company, especially in the wireless business. Over here, the 4G and the 5G RAN installation, that has actually aided the top line numbers, and also this is mostly coming from the BSNL's order book. Also, if you look at wireline business, two important updates are coming in. First is this, there are strategic deals are happening in the critical infrastructure, and second, they have also started going into a strategic partnership with Telecom Egypt as well. Also going ahead, two important triggers are there for the company. The first one being they are executing the largest ever networks being built. Now this is the indigenous technology for both 4G as well as 5G, and also in the route and satellite transponder. So that is something which we'll be looking out for, and currently government is also giving a lot of incentives in this segment. And lastly, they are also looking at building end-to-end telecom networks that would be margin accretive as per the analysts.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sharad, for actually telling us why such a stellar move coming in for Tejas Networks, given the fact that the company has reported profit, and this is only when you compare quarter-on-quarter basis. Last quarter itself, the company had posted a loss, and this quarter, they have actually turned positive. So that's one of the reasons why the stock is seeing a sharp rally. And in fact, the last hour of trading session yesterday as well, the stock actually saw a sharp spike. In fact, let's hear out what ET Now and ET Now Swadesh's editor-in-chief, Nikunj Dalmia, actually had to tell about Tejas Networks in particular.
Tejas is a company which is not an IT services company. They are what could be called as a back-end company which essentially is executing projects. Projects have kicked in largely because of that BSNL order, and they are implementing that. What happens after that? Now, the BSNL order will last for next couple of quarters. That may look the network or the business of Tejas look very strong, and I think that number is visible. What happens after that? Can Tata's really build it up? Can they add new businesses, or post BSNL order, the number, Tejas in a sense will hit what could be called as a high watermark? That time will only tell. But for the moment, for shareholders, I think it's Tata, it's the BSNL order, it is the recent spike and the real turnaround which is happening at an operating level. See, I look at it this way, 4G from 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G, and 4G to 5G, and 5G to 6G. And that is how the telecom cycle will move. And globally also everything is moving from 4G to 5G in emerging markets and 5G to 6G in developed markets. So if they are really able to crack the code in terms of emerging as a go-to space where they can implement large orders, which are complicated orders and which are complex, then this really could be a very big stock in coming years. But if the entire cycle for Tejas pauses and stalls after the execution of BSNL order, then this would be called as a gold rush period for Tejas, and this may just end up becoming a high watermark. Time will only tell that how much are they able to expand and how much are they able to grow now that they've got a huge backing from the Tatas.
All right, so that's the view coming in from Nikunj Dalmia, who is the editor-in-chief of ET Now and ET Now Swadesh on Tejas Networks. And what a spike this particular counter has seen over the course of 3 years alone, that is from 2021 to 2024. The stock has seen a sharp rally, but let's not forget the stock at one point in time did see a sharp drop. So let's understand what sort of a strategy should you adopt when it comes to Tejas Networks. We have our experts today, Kush Bora on the technicals, while we have Rajesh Agarwal on the fundamentals. A very good morning to you, Kush, as well as Rajesh. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And Rajesh, let me come first to you and ask you about Tejas Networks. No doubt that this particular counter has seen a spectacular rally over the last 2 to 3 years or so. But let's not forget, the stock actually gave jitters to a lot of investors when it actually saw a nosedive as well, isn't it?
Good morning, shareholders. Srishti, Kush. You said it right. It has given spectacular return. And the best part is it's justifying its name, Tejas. Its market cap has gone like Tejas. It's zooming like that. 17% yesterday, 17% again today. It's the right company in the right from the right group in the right sector in the right time. This is what happened. Tejas. From the Tata Group, working on all those telecom networks, 5G and all, and as Nikunj was pointing out just now, that what happens after the execution of 5G, that's the big question, unless until they get good orders from good new orders, or they move to 6G technology and all, then it has to be seen what happens after that. So that only time will tell. But at this point of time, yes, it is belonging to the Tata Group in the 5G sector. Numbers have been very good. Q4 numbers, 147 crore PAT, 343% jump in revenue, full year order book of 8,000 odd crores. Everything is in favor of that. But after this kind of stellar return, I would wait for new entry, because 17% yesterday and 17% today, it's almost 37, 38% in a span of just 2 days. So I think one should, for new entry, one should wait for some settling down of prices. But somebody holding it can continue to hold. And with the new orders coming in, not only from India, from also from around 75 countries across the world, and the recent new order from Egypt is at least a good number, at least a guarantee for a good number in the next 3-4 quarters or so. So one can continue to hold, but for new buying, one should wait.
Not to enter in fresh buys is the recommendation coming in from Rajesh, but the company is doing pretty well and in the long run can reward well as well. But Kush, let's get your take as well, because the stock has seen a phenomenal up move, and what a breakout is what we have seen on this particular counter. How exactly on the charts you're spotting this breakout, and what are the levels that you will be tracking, and do you believe that there's still opportunity for fresh longs, or you would also avoid entering at this point?
Sure. First up, hi Srishti, a very good morning to you, Rajesh and Cheryl, and to all the viewers. Well, let me also highlight one thing that you and the team have been talking about. The stock did take a bit of a nosedive, and when I say a bit, it's only relative, because if your team can pull up the weekly charts for the last couple of years, you will find that after every sharp rise, the stock has a tendency to dip, as much as 20%, perhaps even a little more. This time around, with the market, down move, the stock had actually corrected a little more than 20% as well. But for the last 4 to 5 such dips, the stock, it's actually just turned out to be a buying opportunity. So this stock is no stranger to volatility. The investors or traders who enter into this perhaps have to learn to live with that as well. But as we can see, the stock's actually turned out to be a multi-bagger. So I think every dip that comes around, is an opportunity to buy. Sure, I agree with Rajesh on this 100% that, right now with the kind of stellar moves that we've seen, the risk reward ratio for a fresh buy may not be as favorable. So perhaps any kind of dip, close to, let's say, 950 or 900 levels will be a very good opportunity to buy. Also, because before this, dip and then the subsequent rise came about, the stock had spent a good, I would say 3 to about, 4 months consolidating within that, 850 to 900 zone. So if the dip does come around, I think there will be a lot of buying that will emerge around the 900, 950 mark. Now, when do you get that? A little difficult to say that. But as I said, the stock has a tendency to, correct sharply after, sharp up moves. So just wait for any kind of fresh allocation. If you're holding an existing position with the kind of momentum that you're seeing, perhaps don't book out too early. A partial book profit is perhaps warranted, but don't book out completely. Hold and ride this momentum would be my suggestion for anyone who's holding this at the moment.
Right, the momentum is the take coming in for Kush for anyone who's holding at Tejas Networks. And yes, maybe now after the sharp rally may not be the time to enter the stock, but yes, the stock definitely looks promising is what both of our experts have to say.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.